Right now, I'm going to have two friends vouch for me, or at least tell me about their own experiences. They're not originally from here. They choose to be here. They're originally from a European country and also resided in the United States.
Correct.
But now they're here in the Philippines. I'd like you to meet guys, Mike and Nelly from Make It Happen.
Yes.
They're vloggers. Thank you for being in the show, Mike.
Thank you for having us.
Nelly,
Hi.
it's such an honor to have you here. Well, tell our audience, tell our listeners how I got to yank you over to join the show.
So we on Monday, I think it was, we did a video about Intramuros, and we met at the Paper Plus Cup coffee shop.
That's right.
We just got into chatting and we told a little bit of our story, how we came to the Philippines and what were the steps leading up to decide to actually live in the Philippines, and then we were invited to this lovely show.
Paper Plus Cup is a coffee shop owned by the Manila Bulletin and housed in the Manila Bulletin offices.
Yeah.
And you went to Intramuros.
Yes.
Why Intramuros? Was there anybody who coached you to go there?
We were actually working together with the tourism office of the Philippines, the Department of
Tourism.
Just to showcase the rich heritage of the Philippines and Intramuros. And I think Intramuros is one of the most beautiful places in Manila. So it was really nice to just walk around and see the sights.
Yeah, I was asking you during the visit that you had in Manila Bulletin. I was always apprehensive, at least before. I was quite apprehensive when I have guests coming from Europe and coming into the Philippines and attempting to show them Intramuros, because it's an old city. There are churches there, ruins of some buildings there. But I've been to some parts of Europe and I've seen bigger, more ornate buildings. Is that something that you consider? I mean, like, did you compare this with what you have? You're originally from
Austria.
Austria. Come near the mic.
So yeah, of course we have.
He's your friend. His name's Mike too.
We have a lot of beautiful churches in Austria and Europe in general, but what's so special about Intramuros is it is a beautiful gem within Asia. You know, religion is it's so deep in Intramuros. You can see it with the beautiful churches, the architecture, and that's really what makes it special. And that's why we think people that come to Manila and the Philippines in general should take time to take a look at it.
Okay, I'll step back a bit. What do Mike and Nelly really do? You say you're with Make It Happen. What is Make It Happen?
So we are a travel and lifestyle YouTube channel. So we travel around the world and have focused a lot on the Philippines over the past few months, and I said the last 2 years. And we just create fun, interesting videos that spread good vibes.
Vlogging.
Yes.
All right. Oh, tell us about vlogging. I mean, of course, the younger set would be familiar with vlogging. And I'm telling you, we have listeners from all age brackets, and some of them are not. Well, a lot of them are young ones. A lot of them are young once upon a time. And what is vlogging?
So vlogging in its basic form is you pick up a camera and essentially film everything that you do all day and create a video out of it. At least that's how it started back in the day with people like Casey Neistat. Nowadays, vlogging has transformed a little bit to having a media house where you create a visually pleasing movie every single day.
Production.
Once a week, exactly.
And that's what you've been doing for how long?
We started the channel in 2015. Actually, in a few days, we have our 5-year anniversary of the channel.
5th year. Wow. Make it happen.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right.
But only in the past, I'd say 2 to 2.5 years, we've really been focused on it. So doing it as a full-time job, and it really is a full-time job.
Yeah.
Full-time job,
Yes.
meaning, of course, there was something else you were doing before vlogging.
Yes.
Yes.
What was it that you were busy with?
So we had
You're originally from
Austria.
Austria.
Yeah, we are from Austria, and we both had a company in Austria doing advertising.
Advertising.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mike was also, before that, he was project manager. So yeah.
I'm actually an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer.
All right.
That's my original background.
Okay.
And I used to work for a big global corporation building steel mills.
And so how did this all happen? How did you make it happen?
So we started the channel originally more as a motivational channel. It was my intention to motivate younger people to follow their passions, and slowly but surely we were always preaching, you got to do what you're passionate about, do what you love.
Yeah.
And we realized preaching this that we actually love to travel, so we actually should be doing this.
So it was traveling in the first place. Yes. I mean, vlogging or no vlogging, travel was your passion?
Yes. Correct.
All right, okay.
And we only started documenting our travels once we really decided that our channel is now a travel channel.
Yeah.
Because some people would be traveling around, and even in the past would be camera shy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's too a touristy thing. Oh, what can you say about that?
Well, you kind of grow into it. Like from our perspective, you start very, I would say,
stiff.
Yeah. And then eventually you give more of your personality, and then you get used to it, and you're not really shy when it comes to talking in front of people and then in front of the camera, because you're just looking into the camera and there are like thousands of people behind the camera who are watching. So
and
you
always kind natural.
You always kind of focus on talking to a friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
With eye contact, with just like us.
Right.
So that's what vlogging, or like our vlogging channel, is focusing on. So it's very personal.
And what's your objective? I mean, what way would you want to do that?
So we always seem to find topics that we focus on, and we try to share with the people how fascinated and amazed we are about this topic.
Yeah.
Be it a destination or
sharing the passion.
Exactly. And it's to me it's one of the hardest things. Showing my real personality through camera. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people see me on camera, and then they see me in real life, they're like, oh, you're much funnier. And I'm like, I'm trying to be funny on camera. So, yeah, but what we try to do is we try to share our emotions in that moment and how amazed we are by a situation or by a destination.
It's not being conscious about, per se, it's not just entertaining.
It's not just entertaining, correct.
It's informing through sharing.
Correct.
But you have to have it engaging as well.
Yeah, it has to be entertaining, otherwise nobody's going to watch.
Yeah.
Well, like, for example, being funny,
Yeah.
I mean, you can always put it on only to a certain extent, but you cannot sustain it.
Exactly.
So you have to be genuinely having fun.
Yes.
Okay, you left jobs, advertising, engineering, and got into this. Now you're doing it full-time for the last 2 years,
Yes.
but have been into it for 5 years. How do you live? I mean... is there a way of monetizing vlogging?
Yes, so we still have our Austrian company, and
still existing.
Yes, still existing. And vlogging is essentially like a TV channel or a media house. So you're creating content, and YouTube will monetize the content for you. And every now and then, you get to work together with brands that you believe in. And that's it's like a sum of many things to make a small living.
YouTube gets advertisers for the show.
No.
Correct.
No, not.
Oh yeah. With the
and also depending on the number of viewers and visits that you have.
Yeah, but one thing that I have to mention is we meet a lot of people with kids, and they say, oh, he wants to become a vlogger, or she wants to become a vlogger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, please go to school first, because in the first 3 years you don't earn anything. So we put out content for free, and we were working in our jobs.
You build it up.
We build it up, and then eventually when it started making a little bit of money, we said, okay, let's focus on that.
Something that's really amazing. Like, kids used to want to be astronauts or things.
Yeah.
Now they want to be vloggers.
Yeah. But you have to be aware that it should be your passion, because it can be really intense. So I would not become a vlogger because it looks all fancy on the screen. It's a lot of work, a lot of dedication. It's like
Nelly,
24/7.
Passion, specifically passion for what?
So
subject matter is traveling.
So
you have that, okay?
What we always say to people is, and I'll just go through them, I'll come to the passion, the last point. It's number one is get an education. That is the very most important thing.
All right.
Secondly, get some work experience, and while you're getting work experience and while you're in education, you can start vlogging. You can start as a hobby and to learn the trade of it. Then 3, get a little bit of savings because you won't earn a lot of money vlogging. Yeah?
It's not going to be enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it is find your niche, and that niche, stick to it. And
the kind of subject matter you want to touch on.
Yes.
And be passionate about that, because you're going to be spending a lot of time talking about the subject matter.
Yeah.
So it has to really be something you're comfortable with, that you're passionate about. You know,
To me, it sounds very much like being a trainer or a consultant.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
education, it's experience, it's finding the niche that you want to get into. Right?
Yeah. So for us, it's daily vlogging. So we put out a video every day, almost every day, and you have to be passionate about it, because people can feel your energy. So if you are down, people feel it, and then it has to be something that you truly believe in.
Yeah.
And it's easy to give up on.
It is easy to lose track on it. And I know so many people that actually would be like talented and they're passionate about their niche, but they just don't have the follow through. You know, you have to hit that upload button on YouTube as often as possible.
Yeah.
But what would you say it's advisable for somebody to get into it as a, how would you call it, a hobby?
Yes, definitely.
Part-time thing rather than plunge into it
Yes.
outright.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But now in your case, you're in a position to get into it and do it full time.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
And you cover travel.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Travel and food.
Travel.
And good
Travel and
vibes.
food.
Yes.
Okay, when you started 5 years ago, where did you take off from? Was it in Miami or were you coming from Austria?
We started in Austria, and as we started, it was actually documenting us moving to Miami and expanding our business from Austria to Miami. That was like the start. That was the
And that's a reason
motivational
for the
drive.
move.
Yes.
All right, and you documented that.
Yes.
Wow. All right. Okay. And what kind of things were you talking about at that time? Like which furnitures go first?
No.
What hauling company should we hire?
We were talking more about the basics of entrepreneurship and following your passion, work ethics, that
Okay.
kind of stuff.
It was business.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
Alright.
I think it was also a little bit all over the place, because that's the
It was.
that's the thing that we that's the mistake that we made. So we tried to cover everything. We didn't focus on a niche, and if you do everything, people are very confused what you are about. So
All right. So then you settled in Miami.
yes,
And when did a traveling bug bite you?
So we were living in Miami for about 3 years in total.
we're
and
together for 12 years.
We've been together for 12 years, correct?
Okay.
Our
and-
anniversary is coming.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Okay. When is this? I'll be crashing the party.
24th of January.
Really? Wow. Happy anniversary. 12 years.
Yeah.
I think
Alright,
it's 13
alright.
years then.
It's turning 13 years, yeah.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Wonderful. Hey, congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
And many more years.
Yes.
You're such a lovely couple. This is a couple I'd like to see going through very long time together.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you were in Miami. You settled business as you're branching out from Austria, and then the traveling started.
Yes, so we traveled every 3 months, because as an Austrian you get like 90 days entry into the US before you got like a resident visa.
Okay.
We were currently working on that visa, so we had to leave the country every 90 days. And we decided to just
You have to leave the U.S., not necessarily go back to Austria.
Exactly.
But just exit
Exactly.
anywhere.
Anywhere.
Okay.
So we decided to travel. Every 3 months we travel somewhere, and we noticed that we really enjoyed creating the travel videos, enjoyed documenting the food in the countries that we visited. And we also noticed that the audience loved those videos more.
Yeah.
They were more interested in the travel content than just like the daily things that were
The
happening
business
in our
things.
lives.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So after a while, we decided to do like a 2-month trip and just visit like many places in Asia. And that's
So
also-
before Asia, you're traveling short distances. Where were you?
Oh, it was
What
it was
countries were you
different. Like
visiting?
we
everywhere. We
Yeah,
went to
everywhere.
South Africa. We went to a few places in Europe, Northern Europe.
the US. Yeah.
Around the
South
U.S.
Yeah.
No, but you had to exit.
Yeah, when we exited.
Yeah, when we
You
came
went
back.
to nearby Cuba, Mexico.
Peru.
Peru,
Was
Peru,
in
South America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was when you started vlogging.
The travels, yes.
Yeah, the travels, because we were already passionate about traveling before. So we used to travel a lot. Our first trip was
Oh, even
after
before.
three years being together was our first big trip to Thailand. So that was very exciting for
Bangkok.
me. Yeah.
Good. And when you started documenting this, how did you feel?
I felt awkward. I felt really awkward because I was not comfortable in front of the camera. I was not comfortable with speaking in
Was Mike
English.
feeling the same way? No, he was forcing, come on, Nelly, you got to do this.
He was more pushing me into it because I was too shy. So I said, "Oh, I'm not very fluent in English. I feel awkward. I'm not being myself in front of the camera." So I struggled. I really struggled. And then I said, "No, I don't feel like being in front of the camera today." So, it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there and just, present yourself to like everybody.
Because in some extent, it is showbiz.
Yeah.
It's just like acting. Was there anything from your background that put you into the limelight, Mike?
Not really.
So it wasn't the objective. It wasn't like feeling good. Because I can understand. I can share the feeling about. When I travel, I always document a lot.
Yeah.
And my kids, my family always loves that because I'm the photographer, videographer, and I say, why are you doing this? Because it's the cheapest, but most efficient souvenir that you can bring home.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
And that's how we did it actually. We kind of wanted to cover what we experienced, but not overdo it.
We'll bring it closer back to home here in the Philippines because Mike and Nelly are now in the Philippines.
Yes.
You are residing here, aren't you?
Yes.
For the last
7 months.
7 months. 7 months. Okay, and they choose to be here. Let's ask them why. Let's ask them where they've been. Let's ask them what they found in the Philippines. No holds barred. They can tell us whether we're doing a good job at hosting or not, because they're going to be honest to me, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Mike and Ellie. And just before the break, I was saying, a big part of the vlogging adventure is acting. I mean, you'll have to keep your audience enthusiastic, interested in what you're talking about. And was there any portion in your life where you thought about getting into acting? I mean,
acting.
You guys
From vlogging to acting.
They've got what it would take as far as the looks department are concerned.
I agree totally.
So he's really good at imitating different like voices.
Actors,
He does
personalities.
very well Italian.
Really, you impersonate.
She thinks so.
Okay, we like to.
In the Philippines, we have a very, very favorite habit. We say, when we have people with talent like that, we say, sample. Yeah, you have to give a sample. Anybody? Donald Trump?
We got it.
I'm not prepared.
But it comes handy, right? With vlogging, making content,
Yeah.
with humor, and something original and different always
Yeah.
helps,
I
right?
think-
It's like Diana is a singer.
Oh,
and every
wow.
time she goes to parties and
Sample,
occasions,
sample.
that's what they do.
I know, right? It gets annoying sometimes.
All right, Philippines. You hit the Philippines, the islands of the Philippines 7 years ago.
No,
Or even earlier than that.
No. So it was in 2017.
Yes.
We did a 2-month trip around Southeast Asia.
Okay.
And Nelly actually did the research of the countries we were going to visit. And one place that just stuck out is like Palawan. She showed me pictures of Palawan. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, we have to go there.
We have to go there. And we kind of said, you know what, let's keep this as like the crown jewel of the trip. Right at the end of the 2 months, we'll stop by Palawan. We'll take a look at the Philippines, and then we move on to, either we fly back to Miami or whatever.
You thought you could move on from Palawan.
Yeah, exactly. So we started our trip out. I think the first destination was Bangkok, and then we went to Cambodia, and we visited all these places, and then we came to the Philippines. And our first destination in the Philippines was Coron. And when we
Coron and
arrived-
Palawan, yeah, okay.
When we arrived and we left the hotel, we were kind of like, something's going on with the people. Everybody is smiling.
Yeah,
at
we're
us.
like, why is everybody smiling?
And
You found out straight?
For us Austrians,
yeah.
it's very unusual because Austrians are a little bit reserved. So
Must be the weather. It's cold.
Yeah.
probably. I blame it on the weather. It is really sometimes hot.
So everybody was smiling, and that captivated you?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was, well, at first it was a little bit...
No, it scared you a bit.
Yeah, it was a little bit scary because,
Really?
as a European, you're in Asia, and everybody's trying to get involved, help you. And we're like, what's going on here?
But you've been like, you've visited a lot of countries, and
Yes.
you found that really unique.
Yes.
Different.
Very unique to the
Yeah.
Philippines. It's very unique. And we still feel that way. It's very unique to the Philippines.
And we're both smiling like
Yeah. So it took like 1 or 2 days for us to kind of acclimate to the friendliness and to the hospitality in the Philippines. And then we published our first video, and this, hospitality and being friendly and being welcoming, it just continued in the comment section of our videos because people were so engaged in a way that they were trying to help us and tell us what to take a look at next, which food to try. You know, whenever we had something wrong, like we tried the lechon kawali, and we thought it's the actual lechon, and back then we were saying,
that's different,
we were calling it lechon.
Lechon,
I
okay.
said, this is the #1 dish of the Philippines that I heard of, so we have to try it. So we put it in the video, and we tried it, and we said, this is amazing. And people went nuts in the comment section. They're like, this is not the real lechon. You have to go to Cebu. Cebu has the best lechon. And we're like, wait a second.
Major confusion.
There is what? First of all, what? And then second, where's Cebu? Then we googled Cebu, and we looked into Cebu, and then eventually a second trip happened because of that.
So
it's a lechon story. I mean, now you're pronouncing it pretty well.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Lechon.
Lechon, okay. No more lechon.
No more lechon.
Okay.
So we decided to come back to the Philippines and explore a little more. And every time that we came to the Philippines, obviously we traveled through Manila. So it'd be like we'd come on our international flight, and we'd spend 1 or 2 nights in Manila, and then we'd travel to a new destination.
Right.
And every time we kept coming back to the Philippines, we kept finding more and more reasons to come back to the Philippines.
Like what?
So much to discover. Beautiful beaches, the food, the people being so friendly. It just was such a welcoming and warm environment to us. And going through Manila, I think it started with me first. Every time I came through Manila, I kind of got like excited to go back to Manila because I'd find my coffee shops that I'd love, good restaurants that I'd like to go to. And to me, very, very early, I think far more early than Nelly, I thought like actually living in Manila would be pretty cool. First of all, because it's a great city, it's a big city, there's so much to do, and it's so central. The infrastructure is so good to travel all over Asia from Manila.
And
flight
Philippines
tickets are very cheap, and obviously the Philippines. So after coming here many times, we kind of decided to live here.
And I think the main reason why we got so involved was just our audience. They were so helpful. They were actually part of our trips because every time we uploaded a video, we checked the comments, we checked our messages, and people said, you should definitely go to the provinces because you have seen the touristy places.
And these were comments coming from Filipinos? Or
yes,
or
Filipinos, Filipinos. Okay. And then we kind of dove into it. We were like, we said, okay, let's give it a try. Let's travel to the province. We even we did a road trip to the north, to Baguio and then Sagada and Vigan. So that was a completely different side of the Philippines, and we loved it. We said, this is really something else. This is so diverse. And then we eventually started to go to the festivals, which is the next one is coming up, Sinolog. So that was our first festival in the Philippines.
You've been there?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that was the moment where we felt we are one.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was like, for us as foreigners coming here and being part of this big family felt just unreal. We felt so welcome, and like it was like a big hug. And that was the spirit that like caught us, and then we said, okay, this is a country where we can imagine to live.
You guys experienced the older folks calling you anak. Did you experience that?
No.
Anak is Tagalog for child. We have this tourism commercial that shows that.
Okay.
An American was a Caucasian was walking around, and an old lady would call him anak all the time because that's very common.
Okay.
I mean, if they're not your own children, they call you anak, child.
No.
Filipinos to make you feel like family.
Yes.
That's right.
That's our thing, right?
That's the idea.
They want to make you feel like, it's okay, be comfortable. We're so good at that.
Yeah. Well, not to rain on your Filipino parade. But what about other feedbacks that we usually get? Like we're talking about hassles about traffic, you're talking about pollution, talking about the heat. How did this get you?
So it's obviously it was a factor that went into our decision making as well. But both Nelly and I are very emotional people, so the soft factors are far higher ranking to us than the hard factors.
Outweighed, yeah?
Yes, and what I always say is, if you decide to live in Manila, then you decide to deal with the traffic as well.
Yeah.
So I said I'm not going to complain about traffic anymore because it's I decided it. It's part of my life now, and it's just something I want to live with. And
something a lot of Filipinos can learn from you. I mean, look, guys. I mean, it's a fact of life. I mean, things could get better. We tried to make things better, but as long as it's still there, learn to live with it.
Exactly.
I mean, Michael Jordan says, if you can't go straight to go, you just have to go around it. But you'll get there anyway.
Yeah.
And the fact about pollution is, yes, it is a topic that we like to talk about, and both Millie and I like to do our part in reducing pollution in many ways. So we don't use single-use plastic, or we try to avoid it as much as possible. We've done beach cleanups here around Manila already.
Bataan,
Siargao. And in Siargao. We have our own. We filter our own water.
So you
at
go
home.
to the beach, clean it up before getting to the water.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very, very practical.
Pretty much, yeah. And we try to spread that message as well, to be aware of the waste that you create and reduce pollution. So.
Okay. Of course, I don't know if you've had your own share. Always, I'm going into the negative side of it only because I'd like, maybe people could see it in another point of view. All major cities would have taxi drivers who try to rip you off, snatchers and pickpockets.
Have you ever experienced things like that?
Yes, we had a taxi incident once where a taxi driver tried to scam us, but otherwise pickpockets, never. And I must say, I've never felt unsafe in the Philippines.
Wonderful.
But I have felt very unsafe in Miami, and I think the crime rate in Miami is, especially the violent crime, is much worse in Miami than it is
before
in
Manila. That's where you were based.
Yes.
So we used to live in Miami, and we said when you get into road rage in Miami, you just better just not.
It's dangerous. It's very
dangerous.
Get out of it.
And I remember when my sister visited us, and we went to a car rental, and she was standing by the street with her phone out, and I saw a guy coming towards her, and I said to her, move to the side, come inside, because it's dangerous. And he was looking a little bit dangerous. That was in Miami. So it was kind of it was like the paradise experience, but with a lot of
hazards.
Comes
with the territory. More people, more congestion, more problems like those.
That's everywhere. I mean, mostly, right? Like you'll find situations like that wherever you are. So just be.
But of course, always the warnings. To read the warnings about being vigilant, and you'd have to be alert all the time. Right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite in the Philippines so far?
Favorite destination?
Yeah.
For me, it's Batanes.
Yes.
Batanes. Wow, really?
Yeah, really love Batanes. Second, I'd say Siargao.
You can't swim in Batanes, can you?
It's a bit cold. I think it's cold.
Also, I think it's a little bit rough.
Yeah.
With strong
it's
currents.
a very air-conditioned beach.
But it's not about swimming in Batanes.
No,
it's more about
definitely not.
I don't think I have ever been to Batanes. This is the northmost part.
Yeah.
Right? That's why we say from Batanes to Jolo.
How long did you stay in Batanes?
A week.
Yeah.
A week.
Okay, that's good. Because the problem with Batanes also is it's very weather sensitive.
Yes.
My sister was there just before the holidays, and they were supposed to spend 4 or 5 days there. They ended up spending more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Because flights were cancelled. Don't know how.
Our flight was cancelled. We were supposed to fly back, and then our flights were cancelled. I'm like, oh no, let's go out again.
I had a boss who was British, and was also based in Amsterdam, but he went there for a trade visit. It was part of the job. He was supposed to be there for a couple of days, he ended up being there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he enjoyed it, but
Yeah.
he was just itching to get back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, well, when you go to Batanes, make sure you're prepared to extend.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could happen,
Yeah.
but I do know it's such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
A lot of scenes to vlog on.
Oh, we have amazing
Yeah,
vlogs
yeah.
on our channel. People love that. It's very cinematic. It's beautiful. It's just
Speaking of vlogging, right now, being here and like when you vlog, we actually learn like from watching. There are things about the Philippines,
Yeah.
places you've traveled that we did not know about.
Yeah.
Seen from a different perspective, and then we learn from it. And somehow we get a piece of you, and like you said, you fell in love with the country. I'm wondering also, like, what do you think you can, on the other hand, contribute to the community? You mentioned pollution, you can do something about it.
Yeah.
Like, what else do you see in the Philippines that you think
That's
we can
needed.
work on? Yeah, and then guys can also help with.
So I think internet infrastructure is something that still has a lot of potential, and I think the Philippines right now is on the forefront of driving 5G networks, which is going to be really, really big because
Yeah.
it's going to bring more tourism to the Philippines,
Right.
and it's also going to make information more accessible to everybody, also people living in the Philippines. So
because
that's
people want to like take pictures of their vacations in Palawan,
exactly.
and post it straight away to Facebook.
Yeah, so I think that's something we have to keep driving that. We've seen a lot of good developments over the past 2 years that we've been traveling to
Yeah.
the Philippines. Batanes is the best example. People told us you will not have internet in Batanes.
Okay.
We had LTE over the whole 7 days. We uploaded a YouTube video,
Yeah.
Every
1.5 gigabyte files every single day, no problem. So
sometimes it's really lack of right information.
yeah.
A lot of fake news also pollute
Yes.
blogging information.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you're there to tell it as it is.
Exactly, and I think the political situation and the safety situation gets exaggerated in the medias outside of the Philippines.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think, oh, it's not safe to come to the Philippines. So
Right.
we try to show,
Yeah.
look, guys, we've been traveling
yeah.
here for 2 years. It is safe.
Yeah.
It is a safe, lovely place. So
Yeah.
Yeah, something that upsets me is there is a travel warning on like official
Advisories,
websites.
yeah.
You shouldn't travel to the Philippines because it's dangerous. It's not.
yeah.
Like we have 300-400 videos about the Philippines on a day-to-day basis, showcasing our real experiences, and we never felt unsafe.
And we've been everywhere from Batanes down to Mindanao.
Yeah.
We've been everywhere. We
Yeah,
did
yeah.
a road trip on a motorbike through Mindanao, and never once did we feel unsafe.
We did bus rides, we did
Of
road
course,
roads.
it's not to say it's not to say you never have to take caution and
Yeah,
you
you
take
always
your
have
own,
to.
Of
Yeah.
course,
your
yeah.
own safety measures as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, because I've experienced that too when you're abroad. There's a bombing down in Mindanao, and the news on TV would say, stay out, keep away from the Philippines. And I'm telling my friends, you know how far Mindanao is from Manila?
From
So
Manila,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's not the whole country. It's an
Yeah.
isolated thing.
Yeah.
But then that's how it is.
Yeah.
And people like you delivering that news is giving much more service
Yeah.
than you probably imagine you could, right?
Yeah.
And that's very valuable.
Yeah.
What about facilities? Did you find Philippine? I'm talking about hotels and then transportation. What's your assessment of the Philippines?
It's mixed. You have like amazing properties, and then you have very basic properties, and we usually stay, over the whole spectrum. We try everything. Yes, there's definitely room for improvement, especially like with Airbnbs. There's much more that can be done, and I think the more tourists travel to the Philippines, the better the infrastructure for tourists will be.
Yeah. Because that's always been an anticipated problem. You increase the tourism influx, but do you have enough facilities to house them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on a peak month, you'd see a lot of hotels have been rising up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see all these hotels fully booked.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at doubling the number of tourists, might be quite a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And you've observed also some social problems in the Philippines. Disparity between the rich and the poor. Is that even
Yeah,
bothering you?
it is something that touches us a lot, especially when it comes to children. So we try to do our part. We actually have our own merch line, and we are donating 100% of our proceeds to the Kalipai Foundation in Bacolod.
Kalipai is happiness? Happy.
Yeah. So that is something that we want to do more.
Right.
We want to give back, and
Wonderful.
that is one way that we started, and then we want to in 2020 we want to do even more.
Because Diane here is also looking after some street children in Manila.
We have this project called Manila Street Love.
Okay.
So I'll have a group of friends. Some of them would also be visitors, tourists, because they're also interested not just in seeing. I'm pretty sure you guys are, like you mentioned, like the other not very pleasant conditions of society.
Yeah.
So we go around and see the street children, give away stuff. So maybe guys, you can join
Yes,
in
yeah.
the next
We would love to.
Yeah, we would love to.
Yes, especially you have the same advocacy, I can see.
Yeah.
Street children. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, one of the bigger reasons why I've decided I wanted Mike and Nelly to be here in the show, because we were talking about your views about the Philippines. We were at Intramuros at that time. We talked about the beaches, the mountains, and despite, well, maybe not only despite, but inclusive of the problems, the hassles that come with it. You two are heart people. That's how I assess you. You are heart people, and I'd like very much that people, not only foreigners but also Filipinos, to appreciate what we have.
Yeah.
And I thought the best way to do that, our listeners, kayo nakikinig, there are a lot of beautiful things about the country, a lot of great things to be thankful about. Of course, there are a lot of things. The biggest room in the world, the Bishop Chedoro Bacani said, biggest room in the world is a room for improvement. And we definitely have a lot of room for improvement. But right now, as it is, there's still also a lot of room to be thankful for.
Yeah.
That is right.
And Mike, Nelly, please share your sentiments to our countrymen, and hopefully with that they would be encouraged to take care of what we have and be more of what we are.
Yeah. So I think the Philippines it's so big and diverse in not just the landscape but also the cultures, and it's something to be very appreciative of. But I think the thing that is most important is we have each other.
Yeah.
So I'm counting myself as a Filipino. you all have
There
each
you go.
other,
That's the
and
start.
That's even better. We were born Filipinos.
Yeah.
You choose to be Filipinos.
Yeah.
That's a bigger factor there.
And I think like a signature thing about Filipinos is they cherish family and community.
Yeah.
And that is something a lot of people don't have, and it's very important, and that's something to be thankful about.
And something that we also figured out is through our travels in the Philippines, there are sometimes storms or earthquakes or whatever, but what is always essential is being together and going through it together. So resilience is very strong in the Philippines, and people put a smile on their face.
We managed to make
despite-
jokes.
Yes. People,
We love jokes.
despite the fact that something terrible happened, like Filipinos still put a smile on their face, which makes us feel very humble. I'm a very emotional person, so I try to
You
be more
belong
like
here
that.
in the Philippines.
Yeah.
You are
So-
emotional babies.
So I always try to implement that in our life as well, to see the good thing in the bad situation sometimes. And we come from a first world country, and it is like Vienna was voted as #1 country to live when it comes to life quality,
The
but
best city
worldwide,
to live in.
worldwide.
Yeah.
But it is also 3rd place of the unfriendliest people in the world.
It is.
Yeah.
So
I have one of my best friends living in Austria.
Vienna?
Yeah.
And she's a nurse. A lot
Yeah.
of Filipinos there.
we joke around when we say, oh, you experienced Vienna if you had a rude waiter, so that's like part of your experience. But what I wanted to say is actually, I lost my thought. Just a second.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, when we came to the Philippines for the very first time and we saw these smiles and like the love that we felt, that was incredible. And I think the first time we met a friend, we talked to her for 10 minutes and she said, do you want to go to have a beer at my home? And we're like, at your home? Like we just know each other for 10 minutes. But that's something that we really love about the Philippines. People make us feel part of the family, which is really nice and something that everybody here can be proud of.
Guys,
Kain tayo.
Yeah.
Kain tayo. Kain tayo. Oh, you've picked up Filipino words already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a few.
Somebody taught me a tip about it. If you want to get along with Filipinos, you speak English anyway. The terms here is mag, and then put a blank, and then tayo.
Yeah.
So you can mag-dinner tayo,
Yeah.
mag-drinks tayo. So you can always insert the English word right there in the middle. Guys, you're doing a great job, and would like to thank you also for finding the Philippines as your home.
Yeah.
And I've seen one of your vlogs. That was the one when you visited the Starbucks in Tagaytay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful view.
Make it happen. That's
the
the
vlog,
YouTube
right?
channel that you get
Yeah.
into.
Yes.
And we have
Very-
a big goal for 2020 actually.
Yes.
Big goal.
Yes.
What-
Very big goal.
Yeah. Secret? No.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's not secret anymore. But we decided that in 2020 we want to have visited all the provinces in the Philippines.
Yes.
Wow, that's a big
72.
goal.
So we have 81.
81.
Yes.
81 na ba?
In
Provinces?
no, I haven't
81.
like they foreigners. They've visited more of our
Than
provinces
ourselves.
than Filipinos.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
81.
far we've
So far you
visited
have
40.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
40 in 2 years, and now we've got 12 months to visit 41 more.
All right. All right. I'll probably come and join you in 3 of them.
You'll need more friends. Like Barbie will take you
Sure.
where? I'll take you to. Have you been to Calapan, Oriental Mindoro? No. Okay.
No, not
We have
yet.
been to Mindoro,
yes,
but
Oriental Mindoro.
Puerto Galera,
Puerto Galera,
probably.
probably.
That's
Yeah.
where you've been.
The beaches. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mike and Nelly.
Thank
It's
you.
such a wonderful experience having you in the show.
Thank you.
And do watch out and look for them on YouTube. That's
Yes.
Make It Happen
Yeah,
with Mike and Nelly.
Making It Happen vlog on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Making It Happen.
Okay, it's a
You're not on
progressive.
Facebook. You're not
Yes.
on Facebook, are you?
Yes.
yes.
You are?
Yeah.
All right. all
We're
right.
gonna add them on Facebook.
Okay.
Making it happen.
Yeah, and time flies, and we'll probably have you back again
Oh,
after you visited more of the provinces.
we would love to.
We'll do a travelogue here.
Yes.
Yes, and they're gonna be on the next Manila Street Love outreach.
Yes.
There you go. All
Yes.
right, time to go, Dan. What's
It's
up
time
with
to go, right?
Dan,
So
Diane?
fast, yes. I love what I learned today, and something a good reminder for Filipinos, right? We often neglect and forget to appreciate the beauty
Yeah,
that we
be
have,
thankful.
and it's a good way to see it from the perspective of other people, visitors who have found a home in our country. So you guys have fun and a very quality time with family this weekend.
Yes.
Okay, and guys, it's never too bad. I mean, it can never be too bad. There's always something to be thankful for. One thing is, you know for sure that God loves you. And the best way to love Him back is to love yourself. And the best way to love yourself is to take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and intellectually. And once you've learned to do that, love thy neighbor as thyself. Try it. Until next week, on Good Job Philippines, my name is Barbie.
And I'm Diana Diao.
We'll see you again. Bye.
Bye.